Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Captain Clyde's MTG. We're going to do the Pioneer thing. Why not? So, not a whole lot going on in Pioneer from this set from what I can see. Now, one thing I'm not including is new cards that are going to create combos or anything like that because I know they're out there. But the one thing is some cards that I think are going to kind of infiltrate the format into current decks that we have in Pioneer and make them a lot stronger than what they were before. So, with that said, don't forget to like and subscribe to keep this an unsponsored channel. So let's get into it. We're going to start off with an honorable mention, Kenra's Spell Spear, which flips into the Gitaxian Spell Stalker. So you get red and 1 for a 2/2 trample of prowess. For 3 colorless and a blue and or 2 life. It flips to a 3/3 trample ward 2 prowess. So there is a prowess deck out there, much like the Arc like Phoenix decks. Um, and this may very well be a good include in that deck. We'll have to see how it goes. Um, and to be quite honest, maybe this goes in the Phoenix deck as an extra creature, kill spell, win condition, what call it what you will, but yeah, that's why it's only an honorable mention because it doesn't do a whole lot. Because Phoenix is just Phoenix, it does its thing, right? So we'll have to wait and see. So start off number 5. What we have here is the Bloodfeather Phoenix. As I mentioned in other videos, I think this could easily be slotted into the Arc-like Phoenix decks as an additional win con. And I think it's better than the honorable mention because it comes back for 1 red for just 1 spell of direct damage to the opponent. You know, shock you for 1, pay a red, make a 2/2, hit you in the face. It taxes their removal. It taxes a lot of things that they do, their graveyard hate. Um, and the reason why I say that, hear me out, is it says whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control deals damage to an opponent or battle, pay 1 red if you do it comes into play. So in response to someone trying to zap your graveyard or zap this creature out of your graveyard, you can shock them, bolt them, whatever, and immediately for 1 red put this into play, and then it's not in your graveyard anymore. Unlike Arc like Phoenixes that have to have the trigger of the attack and the number of spells being cast. So it's a very interesting card. We'll have to wait and see, but I do think it's going to see a little bit of love inside the Phoenix decks. And who knows, maybe it's the card that's going to bring the Phoenix deck back. All right, moving on. Next we have card number 4, the old Vorinclex Daddy. So that's right, 2 green and 3 for a 6/6 trample reach is just too big to ignore. Great for the mono green deck. Plus, you get to search out 2 forests when it comes into play. If you never flip it, that's fine. The fact that for 5 mana you get a 6/6 and 2 forests out of your deck to improve your draws is just great on the front side. All right, next moving on, we have number 3, Baral and Kari Zev. So, I just can't get over how Ragavan's hanging out in the background. Anyway, sorry. Blue, red, and 1 for a 2/4 first strike and menace. It says, whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, you may cast a spell with lesser mana value that shares a card type with it from your hand without paying its mana cost. If you don't, create a first mate, Ragavan, legendary 2/1, monkey pirate creature token. It gains haste until end of turn. Uh, this is going to spit out 2/1s on a normal basis, probably. But in the early game, it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. Because let's say you could hold up your counter spells, and then use 1 mana draw spells after that for free. Um, it's very, very interesting. It may be in a Phoenix deck. It may go into more of a or may make a new deck of kind of a slash prowess style deck. I don't really know where it belongs, but I think it's going to have major impacts in the decks that are currently being used. And First Strike and Menace is really good. The ability to make a 2/1 for free, cast spells for free. Um, I see it being a player or one of at least in a Phoenix deck because getting free casts on your spells, trying to get Phoenix back, so it'll make it a lot easier to get those Phoenixes back to begin with. So, and it's a 2/4, it's a heck of a blocker to buy you that time that you need. So, call it what you will, but I think it's going to be a contender. All right, moving on. Next, we have number 2, Deep Root Wayfinder. So, a green and 1 for a 2/3, already a pretty decent rate. But the big thing here is when it deals combat damage to a player, you can surveil 1, then return a land card from your graveyard to your battlefield tapped. So if there's land on top, put it in your graveyard, put it in the battlefield tapped. This is another way for mono green to really manipulate their library and do all the things that it wants to do. Plus, it gives you an extra devotion to green. It's a 2/3. It is kind of big. I think it has a place. It's cheap. It comes out fast. Um, I look to see this being played at least a little bit and tried out. I think it does have probably the most chance to be a very popular card that's doable. Because let's be honest, all you gotta do is fight stuff out of the way so this thing can get through. Um, and then you start ramping off the top of your deck. It's just absurd. Um, and if you don't flip a card to your graveyard, who cares? You know what's going to be there. And if you don't like it, put it in the graveyard anyway. Plus, this also gives a lot more stock to playing cards like Fabled Passage and other cards like that that help you get land because you can just start putting them back on the battlefield and digging land out of your graveyard over and over and over. It's too good to pass up and not try, and I think it's going to be good no matter how we slice it. All right, guys, I know I went through this pretty quick, and it seems like a lot of this stuff is really based around a couple decks, but Mono Green Devotion and Pioneer has been a thing for a while. It's kind of come off its highs and its lows here lately. As you've noticed, uh, this chart seems to have a lot of mono green in it, and that's because it really feels like they're really pushing mono green with March of the Machines as far as the Pioneer format goes anyway, which is why number one is Polukranet Daddy Reborn. I mean, 3 mana for a 4/5 is already just amazing. They have the one creature, it's a 3 mana 5/4. This has reach. This makes the mono green devotion deck just insane. Um, yes, it's legendary, but who really cares? Because let's not forget this thing flips, and for 6 mana in mono green devotion is not a hard thing to ask for. 2 life instead of a white is something you'll just have to live with. Although there's mana dorks and stuff in mono green devotion that can probably get you white mana. Just putting that out there. But anyway, let's just say it's 2 life and 6, which can easily be done the turn after this thing comes into play. And then we get something that is truly absurd, which is the flip side of this, which is Polukranos Engine of Ruin, a reach lifelink 6/6 that whenever the Polukranos Ruin or another non-token Hydra you control dies, create a 3/3 green and white Hydra creature token with reach and one with lifelink. Now notice it says another non-token Hydra. There's the mono green Hydra that comes in and fights, which you could easily do that, let it fight something, let it kill something, let it die, and then get 2/3/3s out of it. Not to mention, if you pump 9 mana out of Devotion and you pay 2 life, you can flip this before you swing and then lay an additional Polukranos Reborn, because then you have 2 legendary creatures that are both different names. They're not the same creature, so you can have both on the battlefield at the same time. No, they don't have trample, and yes, that sucks. However, that's not what mono green cares about so much, more as the mono green devotion deck cares about these pips. And a flip card has the same number of pips as it did before. So if you have Polukranos and you devotion out the Engine of Ruin, lay another Polukranos, the 2 of them will give you 6 mana devotion apiece. That is a lot between just 2 cards. So I really see mono green devotion becoming heavily played at least. And to see how it does in the format, it's a tough deck, it's a quick deck, and it can be very deadly. And what it's really been looking for is a lot more green stuff that we've been getting here lately. And those green things need to be green powerhouses, and that's exactly what this card is, along with the other cards. It's very interesting. And as much as I try to just sit and think about it, it just looks like mono green devotion just seems powerful. And this card here, it may be the reason why it goes a more Hydra route with pips than normal. But honestly, it's already got a lot of Hydras in it, so it doesn't really matter. So, with that being said, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. like and subscribe. If you already have, thanks, I love you. Links in the description below if you want to help out the channel even more. And remember, until next time, be kind, and I hope to see you across from the game table. Maybe a pre-release, whipping out this big Pelucranos, slowing that big thing on the table. Check out my Pelucranos, paw flop.